self-harm. Wait, that's not the right term. He drains his own HP when you do use his charge attacks. I'm sorry, that's not what I meant. That's not what I meant. And we might be able to get his holds up at the end as well here. See, yeah, plenty of time to spare. Honestly, not even close. Wow, look at that. So good. Yeah, imagine him at C6. This thing here has millions of HP and I can't aim upwards for him. It's fine though, it's fine. Okay, here we go. Let's see it. So far, so good. Okay. Oh lord, survivability might be an issue here. Okay, nice. Oh, no. Oh, okay, that was close. That was close. Oh my god, what is this thing, bro? What is this thing? Okay, still a minute left. We're about halfway here. It's dropping bombs on me now. Oh my god, it's so broken that he can dodge backwards while he's attacking. Bro, he just floats. I'm gonna be honest, I've never fought this thing before. So if I seem a little confused, that's because I am.
Uh-oh.
No! We survived it last time. I guess we started at full health though. Oh, that's how you do it. Okay. So far, so good. Oh, that attack is a little bit scary. Uh-oh, I might die if another one hits me. And heal up. Okay, we're fine. Oh my god, they should not have given him healing. That is so broken. Over halfway, we have about a minute left. Nice. Doing good. More. Oh my god, we got this in the bag. This is it. Okay, then we can do this. I'll take the hit and then heal. Yeah, I think we're fine. 20 seconds. Here we go. 15, 14, 13, 12, 11, 10. Can we do this here? 7, 6. Yes! Oh my god. He's too good. He actually solos the entire abyss by himself. That is my Nervalette showcase. And after that, I think I have to say, he is without a doubt one of the most broken characters in this game. Now, obviously, everyone else is super strong as well, but him by himself is already so good. And if you pair him with the team, he just becomes like unkillable, and he does so much damage as well. Overall, he's just a really cool character, so. Well, if you're watching this on YouTube, please let me know what you thought of that little showcase, and let me know if there's anything else you would like to see me try with him. I just went into this testing it because I didn't think it was real, and turns out it's true. You can solo the Spiral Abyss with just
perfect. Our own personal clubhouse. I always wanted to have a man cave. Wasn't,
What?
there's nothing here. How's it going, eh? Who the hell are you? What are you doing in our clubhouse? Mike, that's Ricky. This here's Kenny. Thanks for giving me one of my beers. Let's go spit it out, Cutie.
Fuck.
Ready, go. What's the hurry? Something tells me you're not the new owner. No, we smell fresh brew. Doors open. That says welcome. Been kind of rude not to come in, you know? Well, you guys are still trespassing. Come on, fellas. Let's go find a snowbank so we can drink in peace. What's the hurry? Don't worry, Kenny.
Bro, that's not gonna reach him. Wait, I think I did the wrong challenge.
In a place like this. As knights, we are taught to hone our investigative skills. Wow!
Fuck.
In my ex-
What was I supposed to do? Fuck.
Don't think too much about it and don't. What? Don't worry about it too much. The more flustered you become, the less likely you are to find it. Pay attention to what you see in your peripheral vision, and you might just stop. I don't know. It doesn't sound like that would work. No, seriously, it does though. In fact, it's how I used to find my tortoise whenever he went missing.
What?
Wait, you had a pet tortoise? Yes, why? Something wrong, Paimon? No, it's, well, just surprising is all. Why? Paimon can't imagine Jean having a pet tortoise. Surely you find it hard to imagine too, Master Duluth.
No, I don't. I had one too when I was a kid.
What the
What's so
fuck?
strange about it?
What? You too?
Fuck.
I can't do hockey. Yes, you can. Up until a bunch of crazy frauds at a shoe sale. Now get in there and take what's yours. Not bad. Next time, normal bed.
Oh, I'm not gonna make it. Oh.
gentlemen. What the hell are you doing? I reported the Hoser sighting with the Heritage Protection Council of Canada, and they have proclaimed this land to be a national preserve, a protected domain for the endangered Hoser people. Are you freaking serious? I'm as serious as an Atamagorian will. Well, I think you just called Jimmy a goddad. They're here to stay, Jimmy, and you, I'm afraid, are trespassing. What?
Quite the fun.
For all the GGggggggggg, and it ain't even my birthday. Let's watch. Jesus, another one.
What's the hurry?
I think that's the last one. Hold on. Those roommates know how to... Look at these freeloaders living out their government like a bunch of Oreos. Stinking widows get all the drinks. Ow, what the hell? Hi, Pop. Petey, what are you doing up there? I'm observing the neighbors for an anthropology paper. Hosers in the mist. I've collected fascinating data on their nesting patterns. I'm hoping to analyze a sample of their droppings.
Fuck.
Some of them droppings are mine. How long you been up there? This is me.
What you calling me?
Lighting up a tree, spider.
Winds of darkness. Come,
Freeze!
This
No rest for the wicked.
My wife Cody and I have run an assisted living home for the last 7 years. She inherited it from her mother, and while I was initially very unsure about us taking over that kind of responsibility, it actually turned out great. Our 20 tenants have their own bungalows, and we aren't taking care of them directly in any capacity. Our job is mainly maintenance of the property, helping the tenants get into contact with the services they need, and business administration stuff. And having our house next to the property means we can spend more time together and with our son, Evan. He's going into preschool next year, and having this time with him and each other, well,
what
we're all really
the
close
fuck?
and very happy. And if you'd asked me 2 months ago how things were going, I would have said everything was pretty great.
What's the weather?
But then, back in September, my wife had an accident. I got the call while driving through the country a couple of counties over. The cell service in that area was terrible, and when I looked over at my phone ringing, I saw multiple notifications coming in, with 2 missed calls being from the man who was calling again. I answered immediately, and as soon as he identified himself as a nurse, my heart dropped, forcing myself to listen past the panic buzz that was growing in my head. I understood that Cody had been in a car accident and was found unconscious behind the wheel, that she had not yet regained consciousness, but her vitals were otherwise stable, and they were going to be taking her to imaging to see if they could find any signs of injury other than the scrapes and bruises they'd already seen. I'd been heading home, but now I rushed to the hospital. Cody was still in imaging when I got there, so I had to sit anxiously in a small emergency room waiting area for them to get finished and give me an update. It was while I was waiting that I thought of my phone again and checked what I had missed. There were 2 missed calls from the nurse that had finally reached me, but there were also a pair of text messages that hadn't gone to my phone until I'd driven back into the service area. They were both from Cody.
Drove into a ditch, hit a tree. I think a tire blew out. About to get out and check the car and then call the wrecker. Am okay. I'll call in a bit. Love you.
I found out that was originally sent at 10:49 a.m., Then 8 minutes later,
I think I see me.
what did that mean? I was still staring at the messages when the doctor touched me on the shoulder. She said Cody had woken up while they were doing an MRI, and she had seemed overall alert. When I asked if I could go back and see her, the doctor gave me an uncomfortable smile.
In just a little bit, yes. We're doing a more comprehensive examination of her now that she's awake. Seeing if she has any pain and checking her cognitive function.
I frowned. But she's okay. Is that just standard? The checking, I mean. Or do you think she has some kind of brain injury? She nodded.
Well, those are good questions. We're going to have our radiologist review the MRI and x-rays in the next couple of hours, but from my review, I haven't seen any signs of internal injury yet.
The doctor raised her hand.
That's not the final word, of course. We're not there yet. But so far, so good on that front.
Okay, so what front are we good on? The doctor's faint smile disappeared.
We've been talking to her since she woke up, and she's showing signs of not remembering some things yet.
I felt my mouth go dry. Like she doesn't remember the accident? Like amnesia? She let out a small sigh.
Well, technically, even not remembering the accident might be a form of retrograde amnesia, but yes, more than just that. She knows who she is, her name and her date of birth and where she lives.
The doctor shook her head slightly.
But other details, where she works, being married.
She drifted off as she met my eyes.
I'm sorry. I should really wait to go into more detail after we've had longer to check her out. It's just, I know I'd want to know how my spouse was doing, and honestly, while I've seen plenty of literature about amnesia, it's just not very common in real life.
Swallowing, I just looked at her for a moment as I tried to process everything she was saying. Are you telling me that she doesn't remember?
She doesn't seem to. Not yet. But often that's very temporary.
But you said she's not badly hurt. She shook her head.
No, I said we haven't seen any internal injuries yet. We're still trying to figure out what would have caused her to be unconscious for so long.
The diplomatic delegation from Sneznaya? What if they got against Master Diluc?
The Fatui are a problem not only for the Knights. They also
Haven't found
present
any
a real
reason for
threat
her to
the
have
whole
amnesia
Mondstadt.
or have been blacked out like that yet.
And when
That's
it
what you're
comes to
really
threats
saying?
against Mondstadt,
She
Diluc
frowned.
is-
Yes. But that doesn't mean there isn't a good reason, and memory loss can occur due to things other than physical injury.
Look at this, please. I held out my phone where Cody's text messages were still on the bottom of the screen. She sent me this when she had her accident. How was she able to text all that clearly when she was blacked out before whoever found her? Who did find her?
Sir, I don't know, but, well, I understand why this seems strange to you, but she could have had some kind of delayed reaction or event after the wreck that caused her to lose consciousness. And the second text is very odd, so maybe she was becoming groggy by that point and didn't know what she was saying.
I stuffed my phone back in my pocket. Okay, well, does she remember we have a little boy? She glanced away.
I didn't ask her that specifically,
Looking back, the doctor gave another sigh.
but we did ask generally if she remembered having any children, and she said no. But again, it could be very temporary. Let me go see how our full eval is going, and we'll get you back there in just a little while, okay?
I sunk back down into the molded plastic chair I'd been sitting in. Sure, sorry, I'm just upset. She patted me on the shoulder.
I understand. We'll know more soon.
I was brought back to see Cody an hour later. The nurse I'd talked to on the phone was the one who came and got me. He explained that my wife was still having memory gaps, so I needed to not overwhelm her first. You know, going up and hugging her, pushing her to remember things that she couldn't, that kind of thing. Just going in, talking to her for a bit, and seeing if that helped break anything loose. It was hard not rushing over to her when I saw her laying there. She was awake and alert, seemed fine overall, but there was an uneasiness to her gaze as I entered past the curtain barrier that bothered me more than I'd expected given all I'd been told. Taking a couple of steps closer, I stopped and gave her what I hoped was a friendly smile. Cody, do you remember me? She looked at me for several seconds before responding.
I'm sorry, I don't. Not really. I can... Like they told me you're my husband. And I can see I have this hole in my memory that it would fit. But it's not the same thing as really remembering you.
Her eyes widened slightly.
I I don't say that to be mean or because I don't care. I'm sure you're a great husband. She blushed and said it would take me some time for me to move.
Forcing a smile, I shook my head. Don't you worry about that, or anything. We'll get through this. You'll get your memories back, and well, if you don't, we'll still make new ones, okay? She returned my smile.
That sounds great. Thank you for being so understanding about it.
I felt tears coming into my eyes. Honey, I'm just glad to talk to you. Well, they're checking you out and all, and we'll see if there's anything else going on. But yeah, I'm just happy you were able to talk to me. Her expression grew a little sad as she nodded.
Oh, fuck, I forgot about that.
I'm getting sleepy again now. Is it okay if I sleep?
Sure. Let me talk to your husband for just a minute, and then I'll come back to check on you.
He gently took my elbow and guided me back out past the curtain dividing Cody's bed from the others in the ER. Lowering his voice, he gave me a sympathetic look.
No, don't you worry. She really doesn't mean to seem distant. It's all just strange to her right now. Sleep is the best thing for her.
I met his gaze. Because she doesn't have a concussion. He gave a shrug.
No, that's true, but I've been doing this for a long time.
Come on.
People react all kinds of ways to things. Main thing now is we're gonna take good care of her, and you need to try not to worry.
The nurse pointed back to the doors leading out of the waiting room.
Go back out and sit for a little bit, or go get something to eat. They're gonna transfer her to another room in about an hour, and when they do, I'll come get you. If there's anything that changes before then, I'll sure to come let you know.
I nodded numbly. Okay, thanks. I walked back out into the waiting room, my thoughts all a jumble. Evan was staying with his grandparents until Friday, and I didn't want to upset them with all this until I knew. So I decided the best thing to do was just sit and wait. Going back to the same chair as before, I started to search on my phone for information on amnesia when it began to ring. Hello?
Hi, this is Jesse with Rod Wrecking Service. Is this Stephen Miltree?
Yeah, Steve, but yeah.
Okay, great. Well, we just picked up a vehicle this morning that has your name on the registration. You familiar with that?
Rubbing my forehead, I nodded. Yeah, it was my wife driving. She had an accident.
Well, I'm sorry to hear that. She doing okay?
I felt a sudden urge to tell him all about it. That no, she wasn't doing okay. Not really, because she'd forgotten half her life. That none of this made sense, and the last thing I cared about at the moment was the car he had towed. Yeah, I just saw it, and she's lucky, I guess. He gave a short bark of a laugh.
Hell, I guess so. What was it? A bear?
What? Was what a bear? The man sounded less certain when he responded.
Look, I don't mean to make light, and I really am glad she's okay. I just didn't know what else could cause damage like that.
I could hear blood thrumming in my ears. What damage? My wife, she hit a tree. She blew a tire and hit a tree. That's what she told me.
Yeah, there was a blown tire, and I did pull it off of a tree. It broke the grill and dented the bumper, but didn't look bad. But the door and the window on the driver's side, well, it's not my business, and you'll see it soon enough. And that's actually why I was calling. Do you want us to store the vehicle for now, or is there somewhere you'd like it towed? The daily storage...
What about the door, the window? What happened to them? A long pause, and then...
Well, the glass is all busted out. The door is partway bent.
Okay, well, maybe she hit her head and busted the window. Maybe the doctors are just missing that she has a...
No, sir. It was busted in, not out. There was glass all over the inside from that window being busted. Plus the door, the inside of it, was all ripped up. Something was trying to get in through that window and was strong enough to do all that. That's why I said bear. I was only half joking.
Another pause, and then...
Did she get bit or anything?
I found myself staring back at the emergency room doors, as though I could see through them to Cody if I looked hard enough. I don't think so, but I don't really understand what's going on yet.
I got you. Look, I'll store the car tonight and tomorrow. No charge. When you get ready, you call me back and we can go from there.
Okay. Thanks.
No problem. Hey, man, I hope your wife is okay.
I felt something twisting deep in my belly as I stared in what I thought was her direction. Yeah, me too. The next 2 days seemed like a bad dream, somehow moving agonizingly slow and too fast all at once. I wanted Cody to be okay, to be back to herself, but I also wanted there to be something wrong that they could identify and fix. I felt guilty at that, even though I knew it was because I wanted Cody to be okay, and as she was, I didn't see a clear path to that without some idea of what was behind her sudden memory loss. Except it wasn't just that, was it? It was the call from the man at the towing service. With his talk of bears and broken glass, I'd called him the next day to tell him to keep storing the car, and so I could set up a time to go by and get anything valuable out of it. But I had to leave a voicemail. I was somewhat relieved, as I dreaded the idea of talking to him again, of him telling me more things that made me worry or doubt that I really understood what was going on, that I could trust what was going on, that I could trust her. It was a strange, uncomfortable thought. I trusted her more than anything, and yet the hours I had spent with her in the hospital, it wasn't that she was unpleasant or unkind, just the opposite. While she did seem somewhat distant, she was also eager to have me visit and spend time with her. The doctor had told me to go easy on giving her too much detail beyond the basics. She said that with some people suffering from amnesia, an overload of new information can cause high anxiety or make them feel pressured to pretend to remember things that they didn't, just to please their family or the doctors treating them.
Just spend time with her. Answer any direct questions she has honestly, but without too much elaboration. And if she presses, just remind her that we want the memories to come back on their own for the most part. Spurring those memories is one thing. Recreating them based on your perspective and recollection is another. Does that make sense?
I nodded that I did, and I tried to stick to that when I was with Cody in the hospital. She'd learned from someone about our son, and so that was a big focus of her questions. But she was also asking about our extended family. I told her that her mother had passed away 7 years earlier, and her father had died when she was a child.
Fuck, you can't.
My parents had Evan for the week, and had been unsure what was going on, though I hadn't mentioned everything to them about her amnesia yet. Just that she was okay after a car accident and was still recovering in the hospital. But by the second day, Cody had grown impatient in her hunger for more information. She was peppering me with constant questions, random stuff. Some of it was about me and her, or Evan, or something else that made sense that she'd want to know after losing her memory. But a lot of it was random stuff that didn't seem like a big concern at the time. What was her social security number? What did she do on her job? How long had she worked there? What city had she been born in? What was her favorite color? After a while, I started laughing. She quirked an eyebrow at me.
What's funny?
I shook my head. I don't know. Nothing, I guess. I just feel like I'm on a quiz show about you. Or like I forgot your password, and I'm trying to give the answers to those questions they give you to reset it. She gave me a slight frown.
This is really scary for me, okay? I can't imagine what it's like to just have something just swallow you up. I don't want to feel like this anymore. Don't you want me to get better?
I tried to hide my irritation. Of course I do. That's not fair, and while no, I don't exactly know what you're going through, I know it has to be hard, and I want to do whatever it takes to make it better. That's why they're still doing tests and monitoring you. Cody rolled her eyes.
And that's another thing. I'm ready to get out of here and go home. Get our child and start living our life again. I've always heard that people remember better when they're in a familiar setting, right?
I stared at her uncertainly. Yeah, maybe. But I think they just want to make sure they aren't missing something that could hurt you down the line. I think they're good doctors and nurses, and they're trying to help. We all are. Her lips thinned, and she gave a small nod.
I know. I think I'm just tired. Can you give me some time to sleep and come back later?
Yeah, sure. I have some stuff I need to take care of anyway. I'll be back this afternoon.
This is Jesse.
Hey, Jesse. This is Steve Moultrie. You've got my wife's car? I thought his tone changed when he spoke next, but maybe it was my imagination.
Yeah, hey, Mr. Moultrie. I got your message. Got your car locked up in one of our garages, safe and sound. And whenever you want to come get stuff out of the car, it's fine with me. I didn't take anything out, but I saw some stuff you'll want to get.
Oh, Like what?
Cell phone, driver's license, what I'm guessing is your wife's purse. That kind of thing.
Did you go into my wife's purse and check her license? Jeff sounded surprised and slightly offended.
What? No, I wouldn't do that. It was in the passenger floorboard by itself, partway under the seat, and I never touched it. But I saw enough to know what it was. The purse was in the back seat floor, I think, and I never went in it.
Oh, sorry. I just don't know why she'd have it out at all.
You got a lot of nerve.
Anyways, yeah. Can I come get that stuff now?
Sure, I'll be here all afternoon unless I get called out.
Another target tracked down by Outrider Amber.
Outsider Amber.
Jesse Hartman looked younger in person than he sounded on the phone. His hair was already thinning on top, but he had a baby face and was quick to smile when I came into his office.
You, Steve?
I returned his smile awkwardly. Yeah, that's me. And hey, I was thinking about it on the way over here. I'm sorry again about how I acted on the phone. I wasn't trying to accuse you of messing with her purse. He waved his hand as he stood up and came around the counter toward me.
Nah, man,
Oh,
I get
bro,
it.
that's
Nothing
all.
to worry about.
Oh, it is. Wait.
He patted my arm as he moved past the rear door,
No, it's not.
leading out into a large fenced yard housing 3 rows of cars. Beyond that, there were 2 outbuildings, one small and the other much larger. Jesse gestured toward the buildings.
Yours is the big one. We use it for extra security on some vehicles. I think at one time the boss was going to use it as a working garage. And the idea to run a full mechanic shop.
Fuck.
Don't think it worked out, though. We piddled some in the small garage, but mainly just to keep our trucks running.
Oh, so you don't own this place? He shook his head as we reached the rolling door.
Me? Nah, I've only been here a year. Guy that owns it doesn't come in much anymore, and the other fella he had working for him.
Jesse paused and seemed to consider something before looking back at me.
Has your wife said anything about the first guy we sent out?
Huh? I thought you towed the car.
I did, yeah, but I wasn't the first person we sent out. Robbie, he's the other guy the old man has working for him. He took the call originally, but then I could never get a hold of him after that. Never answered my call or text to tell me he'd found the customer, your wife, and... Well, Robbie has a problem with booze. Not a bad guy, but he isn't reliable. When I couldn't get him in a few minutes, I took the other truck and went out there myself. By then, your wife was gone. I think someone driving by had seen her car and called 911, but I can't say for sure. And I don't know that Robbie ever even made it out there. He wasn't there when I got there, and neither was the truck. And it's not unheard of that he might drop off for a day or two, but not more than that, especially when he has one of the trucks. So I'm starting to go from irritated to worried, you know? Sorry. Here I am bothering you with this, and you're just here to get your stuff.
I shook my head. No, I get it. I don't know. She hasn't said anything about the accident. Well, except for some texts I got at the time. But she doesn't mention a tow truck or the Robbie guy or anything. Jesse nodded as he pushed up the door.
Well, he'll turn up. Probably sleeping it off somewhere.
He gestured to the car inside the building.
There it is.
I felt my chest tighten as I looked at it. He hadn't been exaggerating. The front of the car looked fairly intact, other than the broken grille and a small bend in the bumper. But the driver's side door, the window was not only broken, but that part of the door had been bent out at a shape as though something too large to fit had been shoving its way inside. Jesus. Jesse made a small chuckling sound in the back of his throat.
Yeah, that's what I was saying. I don't know what does that. That door won't work, but the passenger side is fine.
I glanced at his strange expression and then went closer to the car, examining the brown-black trails running thick down the outside of the car. Is that blood?
Nah, I wondered at first too, but it isn't blood. I think it might be mud.
Looking inside the car, I saw the broken glass and small specks of red that might actually be blood. But there were more black smears of mud mixed in with the tracks of ruined plastic and leather, where something had torn the inside of the door and parts of the driver's seat apart. I took a step back, trying to catch my breath. I don't understand any of this. I heard a sigh from behind me.
I don't either, but I don't know.
I looked back at him. What don't you know? He shrugged.
Nothing, man. Just reminds me of some weird shit I've seen. But I don't really know anything.
I thought about pressing him on the point, but how could I? I didn't feel like he was lying to me, and even if he was, how could I get him to say more? So I watched as he turned and started back to the office, and then I started going through the car. I found the purse, and laying between the passenger seat and the door was Cody's phone, which was dead after several days. And just as the man had said, there was her driver's license peeking out from under the seat and the floorboard. I could see her smiling face looking out at me. A past her that was happy and safe and didn't know this strangeness was ahead of her. There was more of the black stain across the bottom of the photo, and I almost wiped it away when I realized what it was. A fingerprint. Something stopped me then. I stayed frozen, hunched over in the doorway of the car, holding the license plate gingerly by its edges as I decided what to do. Why did this feel important? Like I was preserving evidence from a crime scene. Maybe because I was. What if Cody was attacked, either by this Robbie or somebody else? This could be proof of that, and I couldn't risk destroying evidence. Swallowing, I looked around for somewhere to put the license without disturbing the fingerprint there. I finally settled on breaking off the plastic lid of some baby wipes she kept in the back seat. It wasn't great, but after I dried the lid on my pants, it should be a decent place to keep the license until I could get it into a proper box or something. Feeling both scared and stupid, I headed back up to the office, holding her purse and phone in one hand and the lid to the wipes with the license in the other. When I went in, Jesse was gone. I still wanted to press him for anything else he might know, but it wasn't like I still didn't have the car there. I could always make the excuse to question him again when I called to check on that. I was halfway back to the hospital when the first nurse that had called me called again. "What is it? Is something wrong?" His voice was odd, different than his normal and kind, positive one.
Well, your wife has demanded to be discharged. We've convinced her to wait until tomorrow morning, but we're starting to process the paperwork now.
Discharged? Why? There was a pause.
Well, she says she remembers much more now. She remembers you and more of her life, and she wants to go home. And we can't keep her here against her will.
Okay, well, maybe that's good news, right? I'll be back there in just a few minutes, okay? I'll see if I can talk to her and find out what's going on.
Sure, Look, I wanted to ask you a couple things before you go back, if that's alright.
Oh, well, yeah, what?
Well, when she first woke up, your wife said that her home address was 157 Alberts Drive. But our records from when she had her baby here 3 years ago show 201 Benson Lane. Have you moved since then?
I gave her a relieved laugh. Oh, is that all? Well, no, we've lived at Benton for 7 years, since her mother died and Cody inherited her house. But before that, our house was 157 Albridge. For the first few years, we still kept our old house as a fallback. Still got our mail there, even. We didn't sell it until we had the baby, so maybe she's just remembering the old house because we used to live there.
Maybe so. It just seemed strange, and I wanted to let you know. See you when you get here.